Hello, fiber fans, friends, and followers. My name is Beth, and I am here to talk to you about all of the yarny fun that I have gotten into this past week. It's actually only been 6 days since I last recorded, but I am leaving town soon, and I want to get that recording in and uploaded and have time to pack and get ready for my trip. So I've got a lot going on, and I'm so excited about all of the planning and organizing and arranging that I've done this last week. Okay, so let's get situated. First of all, if you haven't been here before, my name is Beth. I am a knitter and a teacher's aide who lives in the Chicago suburbs, here with my husband and our son and our dog and at least 2 hermit crabs. I had 3, one dug down, and I haven't seen it for a while, but that's not what this episode is about. So hermit crabs are known to do that, by the way, and sometimes for many months at a time. And there have been multiple times in the times that I've owned the hermit crabs that I thought they died, and they've always come back. So I'm holding on to hope that she's still going strong, and she'll just arrive on the surface of the sand someday, and I'll be like, Sonny, you lived. Anyhow. What a left turn I've taken. I've got a lot to talk about today, so I can't get too far off track. Today, I will be announcing the Sandy Bag winner. By the way, hello, Sandy. Thank you so much for your wonderful contribution to my channel. I really appreciate you. And by the way, if I know I said it when I was recording last week, but I don't know if I edited that part out, but Sandy prefers to be called just Sandy. So there is a royal name that we have used in the past, and she prefers to be just Sandy. So these from now on will be Sandy bags. So in fact, I was talking about, let's just jump right to the drawing. So it's only been 6 days since I recorded, and not many people had the opportunity to enter because, for one thing, I kind of hid it all the way at the end of my episode that I was doing this giveaway. And I didn't intentionally do that. It was one of those things where it just kind of slipped my mind as I was recording. So this bag, I happen to have 2 identical bags. I mean, you know, obviously in fabric, sometimes the background design is not exactly matched, but it is the same fabric, it is the same design, and beautiful. And I was going to keep one for myself, but with as few entries as I had, I thought, you know what? Because these people stood by and watched till the very end, let's give them each one. The 2 Sandy Bag winners this week are Mary Danielson and Lucille Sensony. So if the 2 of you would please get in touch with me with your address information, I will go ahead and send those out as soon as I can and get you your Sandy bags. So congratulations. Thank you for being the loyal supporters that you are of the channel, commenting and contributing and helping my channel to become more successful. So with that done, there was something, a lot of my time this week has been busy with fluffing my stash, and to the point that I really thought I hadn't accomplished much when I was putting together show notes last night. And I was like, man, all I've done is knit my test knit that I'm working on. And then I have my 2 rows a day on the poncho that I work on. So for those of you who have not been along for the ride as long, I am working on a heavily cabled poncho by Wise Owl Knits. I'll put a picture up here for you, called the Solomon poncho, and it takes focus and concentration, and because it is such a large project, I decided I'm just going to do 2 rows a day until I am finished with it. It's huge now, and with this hot weather, this bulky thing, it's not fun to have all over my lap. So I'm doing 2 rows a day. I should be finished with that by the end of August, I believe. So as I was saying, I have been busy working on fluffing my stash. I think I said that, didn't I? Maybe I didn't. But Texas Peach Knits, Stephanie, she has a YouTube channel, and she is running a make along, knit along, I don't know what you want to call it. It is Fluff Your Stash, and you color in your yarn balls based on the different ways that you can fluff your stash. So I have not finished coloring in what I've done yet. I think this yarn bucket is probably complete after I finish coloring in what I have done this week. And I think what I want to do is talk about the actual yarny things that I've done, and maybe come back to the Fluff Your Stash Mal, because I don't know if I have so much to talk about in what I've actually done with stash fluffing and knitting and etc. that perhaps I will not have time to talk about the organization that I've done of this room that I'm sitting in right now, my craft room, because I took pictures. I'll get into that. I'll get into that later. So what I want to start with as far as actual knitting is what I'm wearing. Today I am wearing a something that I had test knit years ago, I think, like 22. Anyhow, this is Tumbleweed by Rose Beck, and it was in, I want to say it was in like Nomadic Knits. It was in one of their ebooks or whatever you call it. So this was a test knit for that. I will show my twirl that I did this morning before I started sitting down to record for you. And I had so much fun with this. It is intended as a summer knit, but I chose a yarn that is not very summery. It has some yak content, I think. It is, where did I put this? Stolen Stitch's newest sport in the colorway Hatter's Teal Party. And it's got fluff and halo to it. It is a warm yarn. I think it probably would be better as a summer wear if I were to have done it in a lighter yarn. But what I like to do is put a turtleneck on underneath this in the wintertime, and it's a nice shell over that. So that's what I'm wearing. What I am working on. Okay, so last week I had talked about the Makers Meetup. If you haven't seen that episode yet, I encourage you to take a look. And PJ Knits, Penny of PJ Knits, as well as Kendra, who ran it together, they uploaded an episode of PJ Knits where they talked all about it. And I did some talking about it, but It's hard to remember all the things that happened. I know there were people that I was thinking, oh yeah, I forgot to talk about that person and that person and that person. And there are some podcasters that I forgot to mention last week. For example, Darcy of Chit Chat Knits. Hi, Darcy. Sorry, I forgot about you. She was there. She had some beautiful knits that she wore each day. She had a lot of cute summer things, and the ladies of 3-Ply Podcast were there. Dawn, who was half of Frivolous and Frugal, she was there too, and it was great to see all of you. Also, Noelle and Kelly from Knits and Pieces were there. Hi, ladies. So it's hard to remember all of the things when everything is so, like, when you're at one of these things, you're just bumping into people here and there, off and on. And two of the ladies from the Alt Knits podcast were there. I also saw them very briefly. It was Annetta and Tasha, and just small meetings, and never sat with any of them for long periods of time. So it's kind of like trying to remember everyone and everything you did. It's hard. I'm sorry for neglecting anyone. If you felt slighted, I apologize for that. So on with my works in progress. So at the meetup, I knit quite a bit of my Hinterland. And so this is a pattern by Jennifer Steingass, and I'm looking for which is the front and which is the back, because I think I did some short rows to make a back and a front. But so this is my progress. And so last week I was talking about how I felt like my stitches weren't very visible in the contrast, and so my plan was to block it and take a look again and see if I wanted to continue as is, or if I wanted to rip it all out and start over, because I felt like these trees at the top were very hard to see. And now, I don't know, what do you think? Merry Christmas. I think it looks pretty decent. I think you can really see the trees on it. So I'm happy with this. I am going to continue on this. It may be a while before I get back to it, because I am focusing on a test knit for Isabel Kramer, and I will be talking about that as well. Let's see. Yes, in fact, I want to talk, well, I'm going to go on to the next thing that, as I was fluffing my stash, caught my attention, because it was all about the blocking. So this one, all of the information about everything I knit is linked below. So if you're interested in anything that I'm knitting, any of the colorways, and I forget to mention them, please click below. You will see the information about what yarn I'm using, the designer names if I forget to mention them, and usually I try to put a thing up on the screen about what the pattern is and everything like that. So the other thing that I worked on while I was fluffing my stash, I came across a whip that I have, an old whip. This is La Prairie by Joji Locatelli, and it is a fade. It is intended as a fade, and I have Herd of Cats yarn. I think that's the name. It'll be below. Actually, you know what? I've got it right here in front of me on my show notes. Yes, Herd of Cats Road Trip Sock Yarn. And then these are the lovely colors. So what I did with this one, I blocked it because when I last worked on this, I had just joined for sleeves. So you can see, like, doesn't this look really, really short? I should measure that. So I blocked it to see if maybe, because what I did is I tried it on, and I felt like it was really digging in my armpit. And so I thought, well, maybe if I block it, it'll stretch out and that'll make it better. But also I've got it on waste yarn. And I think I maybe had the waste yarn held tight in it. Here, this is the waste yarn. This little ball of like it matters. It's waste yarn. And so I'm wondering if, like, I just had that through too tightly, because when you have the sweater on, you're not going to have that very strict line coming across of one piece of yarn. It's going to be that, you know, this you can tell is a very a stretchy fabric because it is ribbed. So you can see how much stretch this actually has in it. And that may mean that I have some negative ease in this, but I think it's going to be okay in this fabric because of that. So I did block it. It sat on the blocking mats together with my Hinterland for a day or so, just to give it plenty of time to dry up. And I tried it on again. And part of what I'm realizing too is that, so the way you do it, you start with the back and you knit across, and then you pick up stitches on the shoulder and knit to the front. So one thing I was thinking about is, well, if this is here and that's the back of my neck, then this, that's the same measurement, it can't come all the way down to the same distance in the front that the back is in the back, because of where this hits the back of my neck. So I was thinking there was something that I was doing wrong with it, because it was like way up like this on a diagonal. And I'm like, shouldn't that come all the way down and meet? I think I'm just thinking wrong. I think that's just how this is designed, and it has to do that. There's like, the human body isn't flat like that. I cannot make my shoulders be flat, and I am a three-dimensional human. So I think I'm on track with this. I think things are going to work out well. I think the fit is good. I did measure my gauge. I am getting gauge with this. So, or at least, did I do that pre-blocking or post-blocking? Now I don't remember, but at some point I got gauge on this. And even if it was post-blocking, it would have been, it probably is larger now because this is a superwash yarn. So very happy with that. I may not get to that very soon either, but at least I feel like it's on track for where it needs to be. It went into hibernation because I felt like I need to make a decision on this. Usually that's where I stop things. I postpone decisions. That's just my personal flaw, I guess you could say. Now, this morning, when I got up, I started knitting on my test knit. And I thought, all right, I'm at a point in it. This is the Alhambra. It is a test knit for Isabel Kramer. And I am so ecstatic that she chose me to test knit for her, because she has a lot more trust in me than I have confidence in myself. I feel like, you know, I know I can knit well enough, but it's just, I always think that big name designers have like these test knitters who photograph everything perfectly, and you know that it's an honor to be chosen. Anyhow, so I am at the point now in this knit that I am thinking about doing the ribbing, but it is short of what the pattern says to do. The pattern, I believe, says to go like 14 inches from the underarm, which is really long for me. I am 5'3". 14 inches would be like, and that's not including the ribbing. So 14 inches and then start the ribbing. And she recommends 1.5 inches of ribbing. So I was like, okay, this is gonna be long, so let's block it first. I measured, I think, about 11 inches, if I'm not mistaken. And then I decided, okay, so I decided to block it, and this is like this morning, I was just like, you know, jump into let's block it so that it's ready before we go on our road trip. And so I stuck it in the water, and then I later thought, oh yeah, I was gonna record today. I can't show that if I'm recording. So I can show it to you on the blocking mat. I'll insert a picture over here so you can see my Alhambra as it's soaking wet right now, and on the blocking mat. So I counted, my blocking mats have like the inch markers on it, that grid. And so I counted 13 inches. So that may be longer than I usually prefer it to be, but it's going to be fine. I'm happy with it. I added some, waist and hip shaping into it, which is kind of difficult in a textured pattern, but this texture is like just simple, like, I don't want to say it's knits and pearls because it's not. It's mostly knits. It's a simple texture repeat. Like anybody could do this. Anybody could follow these directions. I love the shoulder shaping. I talked about that last week. And the repeat is very memorizable, and very intuitive as you go along. Like if you're looking at the row before, you know exactly what to do on the next row without even looking at directions. I would love to show you this. I would love to show you how it fits. I even tried it on last night, but did I take a picture? Nope. So in my next episode, I hope to be wearing this for you all to see. I haven't decided yet whether or not I'm going to record on the road, so I guess you'll have to see. We both have to see because I don't know. Next up in whips. So as I was fluffing my stash, one of the things I think I talked about last week, I talked about how I had sort of lined up my bags of whips on the floor, and I've been looking at some of the things that I have intended as cast-ons. And so I cast on a project. This was a new to me last week, Bags by Awesome Granny. Alhambra. The yarn I was using is Madeline Tosh Pashmina. And it feels incredible on. I feel like, okay, so there's cashmere content to it, but I feel like it's light enough. You could wear this in cooler weather or warmer, cold weather. Like fall, spring, it would be fine. And with maybe something underneath, it'll probably be very comfortable in the winter. Anyhow, so this is my new cast on. I had bought this yarn 2 years ago. No, a year ago. Just over a year ago. So it was at the Makers Meetup, or the Frivolous and Frugal 3-ply podcast mini meetup last year, that I had chosen this yarn. This is Urth Yarns, and it is one of their own patterns. I gotta remember to look up the colorway when I'm doing this. Oh, I might even have that tag in here, because part of my stash fluffing was that I had, okay, my Swift is right over here on the table. And every time, and my ball winder is like attached to the table next to it. And so I constantly am just like putting my ball bands just on the table and just leaving them there. I kind of forget that I want that in my bag as I'm knitting, just so that I have a reference for what yarn am I using, what's the colorway, what's the content, things like that. So I'm not finding the tag in the bag right now, so I don't know the colorway, but I gotta look for that, because I'm pretty sure. Okay, so here's what I'm using. It's a color changing yarn. It's definitely a self-striping thing. You can see the stripes in this. This pattern is called, where did I put it? Uneek Fingering Chevron Scarf. So this is their Urth Uneek Fingering yarn. It is a superwash nylon blend. I think it's a 75-25. So really you could use it for socks, but I saw the sample of this at Elgin Knitworks last year, and I thought, I need to make that. That is such a cool looking thing. I love how the yarn does most of the work for you. The one thing you got to look out for is, okay, I put, can you see that? Yeah, I put little bulb stitch markers in to kind of mark where the different increases and decreases are to give it that chevron shape, and you still need to count. Unless I'm sure at some point when I'm going along and doing this project, it's going to be more intuitive to me, but you kind of have to look out for where those parts are whenever you're doing this. But I'm excited about this. I'm liking it. It's a fun project. It's mostly mindless, but you kind of still have to pay attention a little bit. So that's one new cast on. And I had one other new cast on that it was actually inspired by the needles. So I have these needles. They are 9-inch circular US 2 needles. This is what I got so far. So I had a black thread on there. This is, I wanted to see how I like knitting socks on 9-inch circulars. So I had size 2 needles. I don't remember where I got these. I'm guessing somebody had them that they were destashing, and so I got them from that somebody. I don't know where or when this came about, but I thought, why not? I can try this. Let's see how I like it. So far, I'm finding it a little fiddly. But I knew with a size 2 that I was going to want an 80-20 yarn as opposed to a 75-25 because I felt like the thickness of that yarn would merit that. So I found this in my stash, which is a gradient, and oh, there's a hair on it. That's a dog hair. So I'm loving this color as far as like the gradient that's in it. And so at first I was like, where did I get this? I don't remember this. And I had picked it up. Here's the band. I had picked it up at The Fold, which was a store near here that closed last year, right shortly around the meetup. And so they had a lot of discounts. I don't know if I bought this at that discounted price or if I got it just at its regular price. But I looked up the website for this yarn, and I'm gonna insert a picture from their website of what this yarn looks like knit up, because I may have to do knee socks with this, because in order to use up the full gradient and get all those blues in, it looks like I need to do knee socks. So we'll see what I do with this. Who knows, I may end up getting 2 pair of socks out of this. I could do a contrast heel and toe if I want, and then more likely get 2 pair of socks out of it, but we'll see. I like the yarn. It's fun. Oh, it is. I showed you the band. When I first saw it, what came to mind is gusto. But then I thought, well, no, they're speaking English on this website. This is gusto. So I don't know how they pronounce it, but I thought it was interesting that my first instinct was like the Spanish accent gusto, like mucho gusto. So nice to meet you. Well, that's that. I don't know how far I'll get with my 9-inch circulars. It's different to work with them. And we'll see if I want to continue like that. One thing that I was thinking is that it might be better to use them like you would DPNs, in that you have the sock on the needle and then you use the other needle to knit the yarn back onto the second needle. I don't know if that's why they came 2 in a package, or if it's intended, like expected, that you would use that for socks or sleeves. But there were 2 in a package, and so I'm using them 2 at a time, and that is my plan for the time being. And I guess we'll see what becomes of those socks. Is that it for whips? Let me look. Oh, there's my glasses. Yeah, I talked about Alhambra. I talked about That's it, you guys. That's all of my whips. So, let's do this. Let's do another Sandy bag giveaway, because I've got a lot of them. So I'm gonna just go. When I was fluffing my stash, I moved the Sandy bags into the closet. So I'm gonna go grab one, and I'm just gonna kind of stick my hand in the bag and pick one at random, and that will be the one I'm giving away. I'll be right back. Okay, to qualify for this week's Sandy Bag giveaway, please comment below. I have been fluffing my stash, and I am curious, those of you out there who are doing this knit along, or even if that's not something that you do, what is your stash organization plan? Do you have one? Or does it just pile up and you wish you had better organization to it? What do you do? This is the bag that will be this week's giveaway. So please comment below and let me know how you organize your stash. And if you want to chime in about organizing stash and recuse yourself from being in the drawing, please let me know about that too. So that's the Sandy Bag giveaway. And now I'm going to tell you about what I've done this week, other than the 2 new projects I dug up and the other 2 that I blocked, as far as fluffing my stash. So I have been totally reorganizing this room. And I shouldn't even say it like that. I'm not totally reorganizing. I am just unpiling the pile. This desk was covered with yarn bands. I have now reunited all of those yarn bands with their yarns, or put them in the garbage because I no longer have the yarns. So I did take some pictures. Unfortunately, the pictures that I took when I was originally planning to start some organization were in September of last year. So here we are in August, and it was not better. It was not better when I started my fluffing of the stash. And I wish that I had the before pictures from before I started in August. So I tried to take pictures from the same angles from September of 2023 to today. So I'm hoping that I'm comparing apples to apples here. So let me take a look. I've kind of got it set up on my computer so that I can look at before and after and talk about them while you're looking at it. So in the before picture from the doorway, what I see here obviously is just like everything is covered in something. There is that small area where I podcast from that I had just a clear space there so that you wouldn't see all of the clutter, but it's all there, guys. Okay, so in my after picture from the doorway, now you still see all the bags, but you can see, okay, let's take, for instance, on the left-hand side, what you see is the drying mats. So there's my Alhambra drying. But look how empty the table is. And I was sort of disappointed to see in this after picture how much it still looks like it's cluttered, because really all of those bags, like in front of the table, are lined up so that I can see what's in those. Those are my current whips. Everything to the right that's in front of that dresser, that's one big long line along the front of that dresser. It is all projects that have not yet been cast on. So that's where I'm at with that organization on the floor. But that table even the before picture, it doesn't capture how bad it was today, or not today, but last week before I started doing my stash fluffing. So now let's go to, so the view from essentially where I'm sitting over to there. My before picture, I've got a big box in there. There's all this yarn sitting on top of the table. There's a bunch of stuff cluttering up on top of the dresser. And all my sandy bags that I had not yet given away, but I have now given away. I have the closet door open here. That reindeer that you can see in the closet, that's my mom's. Hi, Mom. I'm still taking good care of Goldie. And in the after picture, you can see that the table or the dresser, it's a little bit more organized. I've got my crochet hooks in order. I've got a couple of swatches sitting on top of the dresser. So, you know, a lot of that is stuff I'll use in here. There's still some yarn sitting in that box and the bag on top that could be put away. And you can see this line of bags all lined up in front of the dresser. That is all of my to be cast on things, but in a much more viewable way. That was all just piled up in the middle before. Okay, next before picture is going to be from me standing like over here-ish, looking toward the door is actually like, it's kitty corner. This is an odd setup, I feel like, but at the end of the hallway, there's this door that's kitty corner, and then there's another bedroom right next door that has a kitty corner door. So the hallway ends there, and this space that you see back behind me, so the wall comes in like this, and that right there, that's my daughter's, well, not anymore, I guess, but that was her closet. So that's what's on the other side of the wall. So that's why they have the kitty corner doors. Anyhow, it matters not to fluffing my stash. So you can see all the piles of things that I had on the drying mats in the before picture, and the sandy bags that were all stacked up there. And now you can see there's nothing there. It is, I'm using the drying mats as drying mats should be used, and there is a project bag there, but that has the yarn in it that is attached to the project that is sitting there drying, which is my Alhambra test knit. So that's awesome. Okay, here is a close-up of the table. So the before table, you can see, you know, the sock blockers are there, and, you know, bunches of yarn. You can see the yarn bands sort of toward the back of that table. That thing that's sticking up like right by the window that's attached to the table, that is what my phone is currently on to record me. So that's sort of, it's like a tripod, but for a phone. But you can see all those yarn bands just next to the tissue boxes. And you can see I've got 2 different tissue boxes because I didn't realize that I had one when I first brought the second one up. So yeah, that's how bad it got. So in the after picture of the table, let me click through and find it. You can see that it's clear. There's nothing on the table. I've got just what I need. I still have the 2 tissue boxes just in case. but you know, I've got a pad of paper and a little bit of office supply type stuff next to me. And then you can see my Swift on the table. The ball winder is attached to the table just outside this picture. And then a yarn scale. So everything I need and nothing I don't. That cord that you see sitting on the table, that is my phone charger, which when I last looked at my phone, it was at 27%. So I hope that's still okay. And that box of yarn that you see underneath the table, that is the yarn that my husband hand dyed. So I have not yet found a new home for that, a new place to keep it, but we'll see what happens with that. Now, my before picture of the cedar chest, there's a box in front of it to the right there that you can see where there's like this blue bag with, it looks kind of like paint stripes on it. I think that's a Walmart bag. So that is a project bag that's holding a project that is now in a different spot. And then there's just yarn and other things. That is an old, I had that forever sitting there. And then with the cedar chest, I don't know what to do with my finished objects and how to store them in a good way. I've always wanted to store them in the cedar chest, but I've never gotten the cedar chest cleaned off long enough to actually store things in it. So that's a goal still. So let me show you the after picture of the cedar chest. Let's see, where is that? Oh, there it is. So I still have a few things on it. The sandy bag is on top because I knew I was giving that away. So I had that out to be showing. And then I've got less in between that nightstand and the cedar chest now. And I've got still some stuff on top of that needs to go, but it is less. And there's that bag got moved and there's still some yarn in there, but that's because my, that's some DK weight yarn that I still have not, my DK drawer is stuffed to the gills. So I need to remedy that. And I think, is that all I wanted to show? Oh, I have, okay, my before picture of the nightstand and the rocking chair, that's meh. It hasn't changed much. I'm not even going to bother with that. That was sort of cleared off because this is a place that I film and I wanted it to look nice and neat for filming. So I've done a lot. There's still a lot to do, but I'm happy with what I've done, and I feel so much more organized now. Part of what I have done is I have scheduled for myself some things that I want to do. So in order to whittle down my stash, I have created a spreadsheet for which projects I want to complete in which upcoming months. And you know, that's very likely to change, very likely. So we'll see what happens with that. I may end up, in fact, I'm sure that's going to change. I'm sure that's going to change. I know I've seen, like, those of you with your Make 9 boards that you do for the year, and like I see all the time, oh yeah, I didn't do anything that was on that, or you know, oh, I started off so well and then things veered off plan. Which, you know what, I think it's great to make plans, but I think it's also good to not be too harsh on yourself when the plans don't go as expected, because that's just life. That's how things are. And, you know, so be it. Life gets in the way, or life happens, I suppose, when you're busy making plans. I think I'm going to end there. I have a lot that, oh, wait, no, there's one thing that I really wanted to mention because I did not look at this enough. This is a gift that I got from Colleen, Selfish Knitter. Hi, Colleen. Thank you for this. I did not look at this very well when you gave it to me at the meetup. So I saw that it was tags for projects when she handed it to me, and I was like, oh, that's so sweet. Oh, thank you. And I just kind of stuck it in my bag. And now I'm looking at it, and so like this was really all I saw. And I was like, oh, that's cute. You know, I just thought it was a sweet little thing. I had no idea how cute and funny this actually is. So now I haven't even gone through all of this myself yet. So I just noticed that I had things that were very funny on them. So I'm not going to say this out loud in case there are ears in the room. But I'm going to show you this one. Funny. And then this one I saw on the other side. This one was also in the back. Oh, wait, I could say that out loud. There was only the other one that I didn't want to. Very slow fashion. Hand wash, dry flat. So painfully slow. Very good. Thank you. Thank you, Colleen. I did not look at this well enough, nor give you the credit for knowing me well enough to know that I would appreciate this. But yes. Oh, wait, I just found another one. Knitting isn't a hobby. It is a post-apocalyptic skill. Hand wash, dry flat, take good care of me. Cute, cute, cute. Thank you, Colleen. And that's all I have for today. So if you want to be considered for the Sandy Bag giveaway, please remember to comment below, what did I say, about fluffing your stash, about what you like to do to organize your yarn, or anything related to stash fluffing. Are you participating? And again, if you want to recuse yourself because you've already won a bag or whatever the reason may be, please let me know in your comment, and I will see you in the next episode. Until then, like, subscribe, survive and thrive, and enjoy your knitting. I'll see you in the next one.